Hostile suppressed! Grenade! One down! Grenade!
All available units proceed to secure location. Suspects are up for package.
Sit down! Let's hit these assholes! Come on!
Michael Huber,
Ben Moore.
you were fortunate enough
Yes.
to be at an event where you played a ton of the multiplayer in Battlefield Hardline.
Looked over at this guy and he just looks at me after like 10 hours of play and he goes, my brain.
Right. There are worse problems than your brain melting from playing too many video games. But we're not, the embargo hasn't lifted. This isn't a review.
Correct.
You haven't played the single player version.
Correct.
But you can talk so much about the multiplayer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dig in.
Dig in.
Now, I feel like in a way it's easy to be cynical about Battlefield. Of
course,
Okay?
yeah.
So Battlefield 4 did not work
Yeah.
for a very long time.
Even when it
Plus-
was working, the net code was all messed up and it
Yep.
just major problems.
The last few Battlefield games, you can get a premium package. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
I feel like Battlefield is kind of at a point where it's an uphill battle. Will Hardline, or at least the multiplayer portion of Hardline, alleviate some of that cynicism?
I think so, and I hope so. Everything I played had a very polished feel. It felt like Battlefield 3 in its prime. Everything felt balanced. Everything was smooth. Granted, it was a closed event, so I'm going to hold off on my full review. The embargo for the review is Monday or Tuesday morning, and I'm going to wait at least a day because I want to play when the servers are hot, when they're cramped.
Right, and considering the problems they've had in the past,
Exactly.
it's the smartest decision,
Yeah.
I feel like. Now, I remember a lot of the early criticism being during the alpha that it just sort of feels like a reskinned version of Battlefield 4, where it doesn't necessarily capture the sensation of being thieves or being cops tracking down those thieves. Did this event change that impression for you?
My first impressions of Hotwire, I remember, were really weird. It was like you get in a car and you drive around in circles. But after playing that mode a ton and on different maps, I did get that epic Friday night news broadcast police chase vibe. One of my favorite things was getting in a chopper and just chasing down this car as it's speeding down the highway. It was a pretty epic moment, and it happened more than once. And the bank jobs and the heists. If you look at it in a different way, you can be like, oh well, let's just capture the flag. But it still gave me that sensation of cops versus robbers. I mean, you're in the streets, sirens are blaring. Anytime I rolled up to a place with my car, I would have my police sirens, which is probably a stupid idea because you're alerting everyone you're there. But it definitely captured the cops and robbers feel.
One of the things that I noticed with Hardline that was very different from Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 3 is there's this kind of self-awareness and levity to some of the situations. Like you occasionally when you reload, it will do a crazy reload animation that's kind of wacky and goofy. And when you're the cops, you can turn on rap music in your car that's basically saying F the police, which is hilarious every time I hear it. Do you feel like that added a lot to the experience?
Yeah, because that's, for me, what Battlefield has always been about, is just the stories that no one could ever write that just happen by playing the game. It's just crazy, over-the-top shenanigans. So when, cops are rolling up with the rap music blasting and the robbers throw Molotov cocktails, and then another guy comes up and just tases someone, and then another guy comes up and tases him. It's just like those crazy antics are what make Battlefield great. And while the biggest thing, while Battlefield 4 has, and 3 and the other ones have just this large scale tanks and jets and crazy amount of destruction, this is a little more intimate, and it's a little less crazy, over the top, stuff exploding everywhere, but I liked it for feeling different, and I liked it for the intimacy and the close quarters, and everything just felt more personal.
So you liked it, but I feel like for years the selling point of Battlefield has been destruction and super large environments.
Yeah.
Do you think other people will cling to it in the same way?
That's the $1 million question. Is it so?
Now let me maybe ask that in a different way. Where, for example, I played Advanced Warfare and I really liked it. I thought it was a well-made game. I thought it was one of the better Call of Duties in a long time. And as much as I enjoyed it, I didn't play it very long.
Yeah.
And I remember back in the day I played Battlefield 1942 for years.
Forever, yeah.
I played Battlefield 2 for years.
Forever.
I even played Battlefield 3 for a really long time.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself playing Battlefield Hardline for a while, especially when there are so many other games?
I think that is a conversation we could have in length for hours, because I think a huge thing is there are so many games now.
Yeah.
It is so hard for me to stick to one game for a very long time. You know, like when 1942 came out, or Battlefield 2, those were my games. You know, I didn't buy another game for 6 months, maybe longer. And I think as the market is flooded with quality, it is harder to stick to a game. But I could see for me personally, it's all about what my friends are playing for a multiplayer game. If I have friends that are playing Hardline, I will definitely stick with it and play for a long period of time. But I haven't been playing Evolve because I look on my friends list and no one's playing. Just have no one to play with. I played Destiny for longer than I should have because people kept playing. So I think I'm dictated by, for multiplayer, what all my friends are playing.
Absolutely. So there are new modes in Hardline.
Yeah.
Which was your favorite?
I really, really liked Blood Money.
Okay.
So this mode has a neutral cash point, and the goal is for both sides to go and steal the money and bring it back to their cash points. But you can also steal from the enemy's stash. So it just has a crazy dynamic where there are 3 vulnerable spots on the map. You can defend your own stash, you can just go for the neutral, or you can try to go into their base and steal their own money. And some of the maps with this mode were designed so expertly. It was so fun. I remember the map Dust Bowl had the middle cash point in the middle, and there was an abandoned building next to that in the middle. So I remember setting up a sniping spot in that building that had a clear view of all 3 points. So I remember just like going back and forth to all 3 points, like trying to defend our base, killing enemies, and then like, you know, I saw a bunch of our guys going to their stash point, and I was trying to aim on there, and then I would go down the stairs. There's just so many avenues of where to go and to try to get the money that, for me, Blood Money is the marquee mode. I mean, all Battlefields throughout time, I only play Conquest. Mm-hmm. This will be the first time where I only play like Blood Money, Heist, and Hotwire.
It's a really good point that you bring up, because something that I noticed in the beta is I feel like from what the little that I've played, the map design is very, very strong.
Yeah.
Where I feel like there are multiple points of engagement. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of different ways that you can get around.
Yeah.
It just, the things that make Battlefield so good and why I keep coming back is being able to approach a situation in so many different ways. And I think from what I've played, Battlefield Hardline captures that. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I think it is a departure from 3 and 4 in the traditional Battlefield, and that might scare people, but it is a very nice change of pace, and it can coexist within the canon of Battlefield. You know, I'm sure Battlefield 5 or 2143, hopefully, they will go back to that large scale. But I think for this entry, it's all about a hybrid pace of Battlefield and Counter-Strike. It's somewhere in the middle. You still have that tactical edge. You still have the planning, the strategy, but it's just a little quicker. You die, you get back in the game faster. Maps are a little tighter. There's no wasted space. The Levolution is more meaningful.
God, I hate that term.
I know, but Levolution's awesome.
Yes, it is. It is awesome.
It is so meaningful. The Dust Bowl map that I love, a dust storm comes and just engulfs the map. You can barely see 10 feet in front of you. It is, when that happens, utter anarchy, chaos. Everyone is just shooting wildly. And then there was Riptide, where a big thunderstorm happens and there's like rain everywhere and waves. It's just...
You know what you're doing, which you excel so much at.
Oh God.
You're getting me hyped. One
And
final
there's still
question.
a campaign. There's still a campaign.
Which we've not seen
Which
yet.
I have not played.
One final question. I want to know, at the event, what loadout did you gravitate toward? What was Michael Huber rolling around with, wrecking out of the journalists with?
So naturally,
Oh God, I know what it is.
the shotgun, obviously. But I had a great balance. There's nothing like shotgunning and sniping both. So I would use the AWM, which is also known as the AWP from Counter-Strike. I would use that to snipe people, and then I would get up close and personal with the shotty. And then once in a while, fool around with machine guns and stuff. But the shotgun felt great.
That's awesome. I can't say I'm surprised, but that's awesome. Well, Huber, thank you so much for your time and talking about Hardline. You've successfully gotten me excited.
Sweet.
And hopefully everything pans out.
Yeah, review next probably Tuesday or Wednesday, depending. I definitely want to see how all the servers work under the load. I want to try the PC version and console, like PS4, Xbox One version, to see how everything stacks up.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to watching that review, and thanks for watching.